OpenAI teased a new text-to-video model today called Sora, and pretty much everyone is going wild, including myself, especially myself. Now, I don't have access to Sora, but since they very nicely listed all of their prompts, I decided to see how those same prompts work in Runway, Stable Video, which is in private beta, Morph, and even DALL-E. I'll explain why DALL-E in a minute. All right, let me start by saying that I realize this isn't really a totally fair test because the prompts are written in a way that works best for Sora. And even though the videos are directly from Sora and unaltered, they've definitely been cherry-picked. Sam Altman was replying to tweets today with prompt suggestions from people. Some of them looked great, and others looked like this. So even though this is rigged in favor of Sora, I'm choosing the prompts from clips that I thought were interesting for one reason or another. Right, this is the one I think is blowing a lot of people's minds because it's a minute long and it's text to video. I mean, this is great. You've got the reflection, the walking looks fairly natural. What's unclear from this is how did they get a minute long video? And it does this cut here too. I know in Runway you can extend clips by 4 seconds. Is it something like that? So that's the big question for this one. Is it a 1 minute video that came from one single prompt, or was it done a different way? Here's the same prompt in Runway. So the one thing I'll say about Runway too is that these were all done with their text to video. So there's a way that you can generate preview images and then it does an image to video from there. These are all text to video. So I literally put the prompt in, hit enter, and didn't see any previews. I just got the output from them. Here's stable video. So stable video, it's almost like a skull face. I like the Tokyo. I like that there's spikes there, but the character is completely off. Here's the same one in Morph Studio. This one's not bad, but you can see why that walk is so good in the Sora example. So I put the same prompts in DALL-E. And the reason that I did that is I really like DALL-E's prompting style, like where you can have a conversation with it about changing the picture. I'm curious if that's what will be happening with Sora. Is it going to be more like a director talking to a cinematographer and actors and changing everything verbally rather than a tool like Multi-Motion Brush or Adobe Premiere? All right, here's the ships and coffee. I just liked this one because I can't believe how good that coffee looks and how accurately the ships are. Their form when they're moving around, they're bouncing around the waves. This is amazing. They were definitely right to put this in. This is a great shot and nothing that we're going to see gets even close to this. So for Runway, they picked up the ships, but they did not get the coffee at all. And very nice pictures of ships. Like this looks great, but it's not in coffee. This one in stable video, it sort of knew what we were going for. Like it's got ships sticking out of a cup of coffee. The cup of coffee is the side of the ship. It's an interesting interpretation, but it doesn't match the other one, which looks a lot cooler. Here's the first one I did in Morph. Just kind of ships again. This is one that I did in Pika. I don't have a lot of credits in Pika, so I was only able to do 2 of these, but I know people like Pika. So another one where it's just kind of like ships, not really coffee themed at all. And then there's the DALL-E image, which looks very similar in a very general way to the video, where you actually have the cup and the 2 cups of coffee. Like this is the closest thing, not surprisingly, this is the closest thing to the Sora video is through DALL-E. I love this Nigeria one for a bunch of reasons. Like it's very colorful. There's a lot of camera movements. This is what makes me think that there's multiple prompts happening here because there's cameras spinning. There's cameras like panning up and then panning left and turning around. So I feel like this isn't all done in one prompt, that this is done using multiple prompts, multiple camera angle changes, just like you would do in Runway where you're extending the clip, changing the camera angle. So OpenAI must have some sort of tool that allows you to add on to the initial generation, similar to like what Runway's doing. But I also love, I'm sure other people are pointing this out, but the perspective is off. Like look how big they are compared to these people over here. There's no way that could really work. And I can't say how it's off, but I just know that it's off. But maybe not. Maybe they're on a balcony, So it's really hard to tell because if they're on a balcony, maybe that's right. But it looks like a chair. But then that chair becomes a balcony. So I love this kind of thing. Right, here it is in Runway. Not as colorful, not as vibrant. It's actually not a bad video. Like I like that video, but just compared to Sora, it just doesn't have the same it just pales in comparison. I think Stable Video did a good job with this one. I mean, you don't get the whole city, but this is a pretty good shot. Same with Morph. I actually think the Morph one is, aside from Sora, I think this Morph one is my favorite. I love Morph. I think Morph is a very underrated text-to-video tool. Like, I have no idea if this is what it actually looks like, but I think in terms of this being a good-looking shot, I like it. Here's the Pika version of the Lagos one. I like the colors. It's a little blurry. This is the Dolly image, which went really hard on 2056. We're going to have holograms and stuff like that in 2056. So that'll be fun. Here's the little gnome. I like that little gnome working in the Zen garden. The thing that I like about it is like the gnome is actually sweeping. Like there's a motion. The camera's a little bit shaky, but in a good way. You know, like it definitely feels like it's AI generated motion. Like it doesn't feel very natural, but it's nice that it's not just this smooth pan that you see a lot of times. You get the reflections in the dome and a little bit of blur on the sides, so it's a good shot. Here's the runway version. This is that pan I was talking about. It's all very smooth motion, you know. Overall not bad. You don't really see a gnome in there. This is cute. Very nice little scene. No gnome, but like this is I think the Stable Video one for this is probably my favorite out of all of them. Here's the Morph Studio one. In general, I like this kind of things, like where those two stones kind of morph together. They've got the reflection happening too, which is kind of nice. But again, no gnome. This is the Dolly image. This is great. I'm actually going to throw this into Stable Video, and this is what it looks like when I take the Dolly image into Stable Video. Right, this is hands down my favorite clip that they showed because of this right here. Look at that. This is, I don't know. The first time when I was watching this clip, the first time I literally gasped because it's like there's the reflection, you can see their hand, and then you see them when it passes the building and it turns black and you can see the person come in. Like, look at this. So you see the hand there, hand in the reflection. You can't see the person's face yet because of all that stuff. But then the moment this comes in, look at this. Look, you see the back. It's not just her. It's this person here, that person, and then it goes away as the other train passes. Wow. This is amazing. Just spoiler alert, no one's going to do that. All right, so this is the runway one. I almost feel like it's unfair. Stable Video, this just looks like a picture. I don't know. This is the Morph Studio one. Even like Dolly kind of blew this one. Like I'm not sure what settings they had or what sort of additional things they put. Like even Dolly can't get anywhere close to that one. In my mind, that is the gold standard for text to video right now. If you told me like 9 months ago, 6 months ago, last week that would be possible, I'd be like, no, we're still like a year or two away from that sort of thing. Like there's so much that happens, but like it looks amazing. So these last two, they put in their weaknesses section, and I take offense to that because these are my favorite ones. Not everything needs to be photorealistic and perfect. Like some of the coolest people doing AI video aren't trying to make it look realistic, like nice antes. Like I love this. Like this is not generated by OpenAI Sora. Game on, I take the challenge. Like look at this. This is amazing. But it's not perfect. But it is perfect. It's amazing. So my point is, realism isn't necessarily the only goal here. Sometimes the goal is like being able to bring imagination to life in a really strange way. Here's the puppy cloning. One of my favorite things about Gen 2 early on was just like these moments where, you know, two dogs would morph into each other, two cats would morph into each other. It's not a weakness. Don't worry about accurately simulating the physics of a complex scene. Sometimes you want to not mimic the physics of a complex scene. You want the opposite of that. So I don't think it's a weakness. There's the runway version. All right, here's the Stable Video version. Not really any morphing happening there, but they're good looking dogs. Like I feel like they all did good on the dogs. You know, a little blurry, but not bad. Those are wolf pups. I guess technically they're wolf pups according to the prompt. Morph has some morphing. Love it. And there's the Dolly version. All right, and I saved the best for last, this plastic chair. We can all agree this plastic chair is the best video on their site right now, right? The train one might be the best one, but the chair is my favorite one. So Runway gave us a wooden chair for some reason. Stable Video's got this like weird rusted chair that turns into a bench. Looks like this guy's trying to dress like Indiana Jones or something too. Morph does good. There's a chair. There's a chair. He's digging in sand out in the middle of nowhere. Very generic chair, as the prompt states. You know, Dolly kind of gets the right vibe, the same number of people kind of dusting things off and stuff like that. So when you're looking at this footage on the Sora site, just remember it's been highly cherry-picked. It definitely looks amazing. It's definitely a level up. But the thing that's really interesting to me is the way the prompts are written. And they're written in natural language. And I think that's going to end up being the bigger game changer for this stuff. It's really going to change how people generate video when it can be done just in natural language, and it can sort of intuit what you're really trying to get to. And if it doesn't get you what you want, you can just sort of like refine it, just like you do in DALL-E. Do you remember back in May of 2023 where the Avengers Endgame director said that the ability to create Marvel quality movies is probably like 2 years away, and everyone just was like, no way, like this is just very hyperbolic. But when you see what came out today with Sora, if this is what Sora looks like now, imagine what this is going to look like a year from now. And if you're watching this and you work for OpenAI, I would love to beta test this. All right, thanks for watching.